አጀንዳችን አንድ ጽሁፍ አቶ አደቶ አንቶንዮስ አዘጋጅተዋል። የወንድማማቾች ኢትዮጵያውያን እኛ በዘር ተከፋፍለናል እንደምናውቀው እና ዘርን ቋንቋን መሰረት ባደረገ የተከፋፈልን ብለን ነው የምናምነው። ነገር ግን ጂናችን በሚመረመርበት ጊዜ ኢትዮጵያዊ ብቻ ሳይሆን ሙሉ ኢስት አፍሪካ አንድ ጂን ነው አለው እና በዚህ መሰረት ወንድማችን አቶ አንቶንዮስ አደቶ አንቶንዮስ Pledge of Brotherhood በምል ትንሽ ትምህርት ያስተምረናል እና አደቶ በሃይ ስኩል እድሜው ነው እዚህ ሀገር የመጣውና ትንሽ አማርኛ አርቲኩሌት አድርጎ መናገር ሊከብደው ይችላል። በእንግሊዝኛም በአማርኛም እየቀላቀለ እንደሚሞክር ተስፋ አደርጋለሁ።
በመጀመሪያ ምስጋናዬን ለአራት ሰዎች ለማቅረብ እፈልጋለሁ። ተስፋዬ፣ አማኑኤል፣ ኢያሮን who's missing ብርሃኑ አራት እንደ ምሰሶ ቆመው እኛን ኦርጋናይዝ አድርጎ እዚህ ያመጡን እነሱ ናቸው። they want to do something good የስራቸው የልፋታቸው ውጤት እንዲያምር የምንችለውን ያህል እናደርጋለን። ኦርጋናይዝ ለማድረግ እንሞክራለን ህዝቦቻችንን ለሚመጣው ትውልድ ነው እንጂ በእኛ ትውልድ ውጤት ለማየት አንችልም ይሆናል። It's basically what we do today is going to make a difference 10 years from today, 20 years from today. So we're not going to see results in our lifetime. But if we organize ourselves, eventually somebody is going to benefit, reap the benefit. So I appreciate their hard work, and I am willing to contribute my share. Now, this is an entertainment. Obviously, it's not anything hardcore. So I just want you to know I'm not an expert. My education primarily is in healthcare, and then I moved on to do a graduate work in gerontology, aging. Aging is a very interesting concept because it comes under anthropology. Aging is a matter of adaptation now. If you adapt well, you will age well. If you don't adapt well, you die soon. So that's what I learned. So based on that, I would like to go straight to the point. Yekafas Hizb. It's not an ethnic group. It's not a clan. Kafa is a region. It's an area in southwest Ethiopia. So, where did the Kafa people come from? They came from all over the place. Look at our faces. Do we have similar faces? Look at our sizes. We don't have the same sizes. We vary. Some of us are short, some of us are tall, some of us are broad features, strong muscles. So Kafa was always been a refuge for people who were mistreated. And this mistreat came from the history of slave trade. Do not forget, slave trade shaped our minds, the way we think, and we treat each other. It's always the relation between the master and the slaveholder. Our leaders have this idea of master to control their slaves. It's been transitioned over the years. I remember 3 governments in my lifetime. Haile Selassie government, and sequentially the Derg government, where they overthrew each other, and then current government and the government systems. So every time one wants to enslave the other, because that slave mentality that we inherited from African slave trade, none of us would like to talk, because they always think East Africa was never enslaved. Slaves never were shipped out of East Africa. They had been shipped out. I tell you. But nobody told us. So, that said, I just would like to read to you some of the things that I found out on my own. The region of Kaffa represents the southwestern flank of Ethiopia. The territory from north to south, with a mix of woodlands, grasslands, favorable for timber growth, fruit and berry trees, including coffee plants, and large-sized bamboo trees. Those of you from Kaffa, you know what I'm talking about. Abundant rainfalls and numerous brooks, rivers, marshlands, small lakes, and hot springs keep Kaffa lush green all year round. It's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful country. Southwestern Ethiopia, including Kaffa, are all populated by various clans, only separated by porous borders where people freely go in and out of each other's enclaves. They travel to regional markets, buy, sell, and even meet potential marriage partners. That's where I come from. One of the unique natures commonly observable among populations of Southwest Ethiopia had always been their inclination to maintain collective and cohesive inter-clan relationships, thereby keeping ethnic and religious conflicts at minimum. Cross-clan clashes or religious conflicts remain uncommon incidents among Kaffa population. They're very peaceful people. The borders to the south with neighboring countries like Kenya, Uganda, and the Sudan had changed over the past centuries. Prior to the arrival of the European colonialists, Southwest Ethiopia shared borders with northern Ugandan peoples. Anybody know that? Ugandans were our neighbors up until the British came and occupied Uganda and Kenya. But after the British got hold of both Uganda and Kenya, they rearranged the region's borders with Uganda and Kenya so that it would fit their colonial administrative needs. Kenya was expanded westward from the north by incorporating northern Uganda into Kenyan administrative zone. Thereby, the border contact that existed along past between southwest Ethiopia and Uganda was eliminated. To the south of Ethiopia, Kenya became the only border nation from the southeast stretching westward till the eastern edge of South Sudan. Prior to 1950s, Ugandan products like bark cloth was a familiar item among the southwestern population of Ethiopia, including among peoples of Kaffa. Cowrie shells, Yahoo. I don't know if you guys know Yahoo. The people used to wear. Cowrie shells and other products brought in from the Indian Ocean's coastal towns often traveled through the southwest and reached Kaffa. The reach of northern Kaffa was historically said to have hosted migrants from northwest Ethiopia, particularly from Gojam. The Gunga of Gojam migrated southward, left their homestead in opposition to heavy taxation placed upon them by their rulers and the endless calls by the same rulers to join war marches. Some European literature refers to Shinasha people also to have migrated from Gojam to Kaffa. To the east of Kaffa, the coastal people of the Indian Ocean, long history of trade with the interior of East Africa. Merchants from portal towns of the Indian Ocean traveled through the Bale Mountains to Borena, Kunso, to Mizan and Bonga. They carried with them fabrics, tools, weapons, ambergris, amberchika. I don't know if you guys remember when you were kids, amberchika, ambergris, and much more. They returned to the coastal towns with ivory, gold, furs, coffee beans, spice, wax, and farm animals. Kaffa is a very rich country, but often, unfortunately, we don't know how well we have it. The name Kafa stands to mean a geographic location, a region, not an identity of a clan or ethnic group. The former and the current occupants of Kafa are primarily descendants of the northern, eastern coastal peoples and the mix of South and Central African people. We are African people. You have to accept it. You know, that's why we should stand together as African people. Anything that affects others affects us. As for the Aboriginal peoples of Kafa, we can be sure that they were the ones who left behind the Kafa language and its customs, which the newcomers inherited. The customs and traditions of the Aboriginal peoples of Kafa, picked up by the newcomers, taught them to be tolerant and inclusive, to have peaceful existence among each other. The plethora of clans in southwest Ethiopia, particularly among Kafa, identified with a unique system of family names with nomenclature that commonly reveal the ancestral origin of persons. The family names that sound like Adero, could it be the Adar, that people came from Persia? Argapo, could it be the Argoba people? Argobas are sometimes defined as Arab Gabba, Argoba, Argapo. See, the Kafa are very much so international people. Boran, the Boro. Woto, the Wata people from the eastern coast of northern Kenya. Most of these names easily associated to people who might have migrated from the coastal regions of Kenya, Tanzania, or Somalia. So, still proves that we're African people. In the early 1600s, an expedition led by Portuguese missionary priest named Father Antonio Fernandez left Gojam and headed southward. That's, mind you, that's about 400 years ago. The missionary priest was accompanied by Portuguese soldiers and an ambassador to the Emperor of Gojam. They followed southwest. They followed a caravan route guided by experienced porters, scouts, crossed River Nile and marched for several weeks, and then crossed another river named Gibe. Walked several days till they arrived at the court of the governor of Inaria. Inaria is Inaro. Some of you probably Inaro is Inaria. So it's not abstract for us to understand, connect for this history. The governor of Inaria, whose name was Bemoyero, which means God among us in Kafa language, received the travelers, greeted them kindly, assured their safety, and provided them with generous lodgings. Father Fernandez introduced the ambassador to Bemoyero and then handed over the emperor's letter to him. In the letter, the emperor expressed his gratitude to Bemoyero's service to the empire and went on to say, I had sent my ambassador with the Portuguese so that my ambassador would board ship at the port of Malindi and go to India. You know the port of Malindi is in northern Kenya. Yes, it's north of Kenya. It's not too far from Mombasa. He said, you, Bemoyero, should diligently seek and provide for all needs of the expedition, and when the ambassador returned from India, you should send him back to Gojam with good guards so that the arms he would be bringing would not be lost on the journey. So now, see, the Gojam king is connected to the kingdom of the south. So Ethiopia is not, this is not new. We're together. We're the same people. Okay, so now they're trying to get arms to the king of Gojam. He's sending the expedition, accompanied by the Portuguese soldiers,
to go all the way through those woods and mountains to Malindi, to go to India to get the arms to bring them back because they are trying to defend the country against intruders. The king of Gojam knew that there existed trade routes between the southwest and the coastal towns of Indian Ocean. He asked Bomayero to provide secure passage for his ambassador.
Once the travel team reached the port of Malindi, the Portuguese would be in charge because the governor of Malindi was a Portuguese captain. Malindi was under Portuguese. Portuguese were colonizers at the time. So that the king of Gojam is trying to work with the Portuguese to get the weapons so that he could fight off people who are trying to intrude through the port of Massawa. Okay. So, this brings me to one point. When was really Kaffa, the name of Kaffa was mentioned? After the emperor's letter was read to the ruler Bomayero, the Portuguese priest called Father Fernandez told Bomayero about his preferred pass to Malindi through the land of Kaffa, he says. See, the Portuguese are very clever. They knew already where Kaffa was, what Kaffa could offer. Bomayero became suspicious over the intentions of the Portuguese to why he would need to go through Kaffa. Father Fernandez insisted on saying the emperor would be angry with Bomayero if he would hinder the path of Portuguese. Bomayero replied firmly to Father Fernandez, rest assured that I would arrange it very well because there was nobody else who would carry out the emperor's recommendations more diligently or willingly. Bomayero asked the Portuguese several questions and then consulted his advisors, who instructed him not to allow the Portuguese to pass through his land. Should he open up a route to pass, these warlike men, they would come back and take away their land, and the indigenous people would not withstand that. Because they knew if the Portuguese once found out what resources Kaffa had, they will come back with weapons and just take over. So that's leadership. So, that's the entertainment. That's what I wanted to tell you. Kaffa people came from the north, from the east, and south central. We are genuinely Ethiopians. Okay. Thank you.
Bodoni wotiti bako gure mishiko kichie gondo na yechati kello hajebe no na shitie shino keye ndaka fine shichibanda ikotabe ngube chaye kubabanda tide tamulo kabiwana tide tamulo yeshekibana tide tamulo bongiwana yerodo hami barewana muchato shunne mo apo allone ye wonne kabo mudoge chimochi shiko michi esheko ndabiare ngonda to chikawo koche onaine neshisho ni chekijije achitebemo tepiwana achitebemo ye mashibana achitebemo geshiwana tadikibote manoshina shona achitebemo geshiwana tadikibote manoshina shona Wokiwa hano chokatabe Wajabayano chokatabe Tagume gomono kachibe Bata yero tagabibe katabe Katabe Asho jeshi jaka katabe Ashalo tunahu katabe Neimo titaka katabe Shuno muchachao katabe Katabe Wokiwa hano chokatabe Jabayano chokatabe Tagume gomono kachibe Bata yero tadabibe katabe Eke beta Haye oh beta Eke beta Yero neno mo beta Eke beta Kafio motachi beta Eke beta Shekio motachi beta Fantishia inde mame Zawudio motabatane Bakkalini tachichege Inde gale tamanjine Tato yero Kititoni kannagede Tacho baro Manjisho la bebe tande Titeta mullo Kafiwana titeta mullo Yeshekiwana Titeta mullo Metiwana Tadiki bot mizan amanachina Titeta mullo Metiwana Tadiki bot mizan amanachina Nabba barakabatona Abba abodwa yabite Kafi buno diri momo Kita wicho kola bite Abba abodi Nabba dona babaraka Kafi inde Zinashna saba Amerika Achitebemo Tepiwena Achitebemo Ye mashibana Achitebemo Gechiwana Tadikibote manoshina shona Achitebemo Tepiwena Achitebemo Ye mashibana Wogisha ifagam kasabe Wadesha sadeshin neshrabe Yorikya kubat mandaru Cheri kunu lep salami gasmagaru Yekun cheri Nenkwala wadarshu cheri Kaftot letataja cheri Ule kuftumadesh cheri Lafta maizaka cheri Waki wahano chukatabe Wajabayano chukatabe Tagume